If you ask a philosophical zombie whether it has consciousness, what do you think it would answer? Since outwardly it is indistinguishable from a human, that is, it talks, gestures, and pretends to think, most likely it would answer yes. At best. In another case, this might happen.
What kind of question is that? I don't get it. Are you out of your mind or something?
With equal probability, this friend of mine disguised as a passerby could be either a human or a zombie. We can't find this out, which is one of the most difficult problems in modern philosophy, or to be precise, the philosophy of mind. This problem was formulated by, in my opinion, the leading philosopher David Chalmers. Back in our first year, we were taught that any philosophical discourse should begin with the definition of terms. Here is the definition of consciousness given by Chalmers himself. Consciousness is the subjective quality of experience, the aspect of what it is like to be in a mental state. A mental state is conscious if there is something it is like to be in that state. To put it in more accessible terms, I came up with this example. Imagine a computer tower running The Sims without being connected to a monitor, keyboard, or mouse. The Sims characters walk around, eat, cry, throw tantrums in the bathroom. They live their own internal, self-contained lives. No one sees them. It's just a process running by itself. Now, a person puts on a VR headset, connects, and starts observing one of the bots. He sees what is happening, experiences this life, but doesn't control anything. This observer is consciousness, while the person is in fact the bot itself. The body, the brain, reactions, behavior, desires, everything that operates according to algorithms. Consciousness doesn't participate in its activities in any way, it simply observes and records events. And the problem of the philosophical zombie is that if we define consciousness as something that does not manifest itself, does not influence a person's behavior, then we fundamentally cannot distinguish a person with consciousness from a philosophical zombie. All debates begin precisely with this initial paradox. If consciousness never shows itself outwardly, then what kind of consciousness are we even talking about? Here, the concept of qualia arises, meaningful subjective experience. It's not just a stimulus and a reaction to it, but specifically what it feels like. What does it feel like to experience the pain of a scalding burn? Jerking your hand away, hissing, swearing, these are automatic reactions that happen regardless of you, at the level of the body, at the level of a program. But pain as pain, the very feeling that I am in pain, that is already the territory of consciousness. That is not information, but the sensation of being present in what is happening. And this is qualia, and it is consciousness that makes it possible. You might laugh, but Chalmers himself seriously allows for the possibility that an electric kettle could have consciousness. It boils, reaches a certain temperature, and it would seem that it's just an algorithm being triggered, so it lowers the lever. But that's from a human point of view. What if the kettle itself believes that it is doing this sincerely, of its own free will? It boils and decides that it's time to stop. It also has consciousness, we just don't know how to identify it. This is the so-called concept of panpsychism, the idea that consciousness is a permanent property of matter. Anything can possess it, but it isn't detected until we have a tool to register consciousness, like our brain. Philosophers also suggest that primitive consciousness, such as that of a cow, a cat, or an octopus, is immanent and inseparable from their bodily experience. They don't feel pain, they simply feel. But human consciousness is capable of complexity. It can experience suffering over the very fact of its own suffering and not even necessarily its own. We suffer because we suffer, and even because someone else is suffering. But if you think about it, all of our conscious activity, this qualia, is just another reflex, just a more complexly programmed one. Yes, now I'm entering into a debate, a dispute with Chalmers. We have a physical body with its reflexes and programs. There is also the psyche, which in Greek means soul, but essentially, it's just another set of programs. How does a person program themselves to react to certain stimuli, to think certain things about them? In essence, it's an informational golem. While the physical body jumps through the jungle, avoiding dangers and searching for food, the psychic body interacts not with the environment, but with society. And it is the person who actually programs themselves. The inner observer can influence the software, the programming. You can change your ways of reacting, your habits. Consciousness can be fixed. The fact is, at a certain level, this set of programs loops in on itself and displaces the conscious part, or rather, the part that is aware. The program starts to repeat itself, which is easy to notice. The camera drops, which is easy to notice during a short conversation with a person. And here is the key point. Are you aware of this limitation within yourself? Can you stop performing functions you are used to, which have long ceased to be tools for you? Does your psyche serve your activity, or on the contrary, does your activity serve your psyche? Many attachments, especially those that are emotionally charged, particularly the attachment to your own self-image, are reinforced by a block that prevents you from letting go of these attachments and the inertia of the psyche. And here I think the main thing is to notice what is truly useful and what you only consider important out of habit. For example, some people can't stop thinking about how bad everything is. They consider this an important trait of their character. If they stop thinking about how bad everything is, then where will their individuality be? They will stop being themselves. One should strive towards what is reasonable and purposeful. It's already 4 a.m. I can't finish writing. I'm nodding off. I would be very grateful for any donations. Light and love.